Well, good to have you back. I wanted to dive a little bit more into the MDIU, the Manual Data Insertion Unit. That's this unit right here, and there's a number of things we can do with this. In fact, in the previous video, I had brought up a lot of data using the manual ascent data and put it up here on the screen. Of course, an astronaut in real life wouldn't have had that. They would get it from telemetry from the ground, but what I want to do today specifically talk about this instrument right here, the MDIU. I jokingly call it the multifunctional display. It's really not a multifunctional display. It just displays what's in the computer, but it is multifunctional in the sense that it not only displays what's in the computer, it allows you to input data into the computer. But let's get into it here. We are in orbit, and I want to really give you an astronaut's view of being confined to the spacecraft. We can take a look out at outside just for perspective and for video's sake, whatever. But I want to not so much go out of here and look what's happening for conceptual reasons, because we did that really in the previous video on how to fly by the numbers. But more so, stay inside the craft and only look at the things the astronauts had the ability to look at and touch, and do the whole thing that we did before, and that's to circularize an orbit. But let's take a look at what we can find out. If we do bring up our code book, and you can find that by going to checklist. I'm in the Gemini missions, by the way, and go to memory core. It brings open this code book, and it has all these different codes for this manual data insertion unit. And this will allow you to figure out which codes to do what. But I'm not going to go through all those, but I want to go through the ones that give us information right off. So now that we get that set up, let's figure out what inclination we're in, and that's code 32. And you do a readout, and I'm not getting anything. I need to clear this off. I need to come back to the computer here. Do a catch-up. We can't do a circularization until we load the catch-up program. We booted the computer. Now we got to load the catch-up program, and then after that program is loaded, then we got to put our data into it, either manually or uplink it. And so if you look at the green light here, this tells us that program is being loaded. Once that's loaded in, then we can go and use the computer display to tell us a lot of different things about our orbit. So on ascent, we had it on the ascent program. Now that we're in orbit, we're going to put it on the catch-up program. When we want to do a rendezvous, we'll put it on the rendezvous. So these are the pre-loaded programs, aside from the things that you can uplink and put extra data in, or even manually put stuff into. So this is a 10-minute ordeal. So what we're going to do is fast time it until that light goes out. It shouldn't take too long. And the light is out. And let's take a look at our mission clock. We are only 36 minutes into our mission, and let's find out, what else can we find out just from the astronaut's point of view without cheating or anything, like going outside and or talking to the ground. Now we should be able to use code 32. Oh, I hit clear. 32 and hit the readout. So this tells us we're at 28.9 degrees inclination. If you don't know how to read the numbers, the code book will tell you for 32 the X's, and then it's probably hard to see on the video, but there's a period there and then the two other X's. So it's read 28.9. So 28.9 inclination. What else can we find out? If we clear that off, code 75, this tells us our orbital period, how long it takes this in our current orbit to make it around the globe. In fact, if we look at the map, we'll see our little red dot right here. So we're right over Madagascar and in our orbit, and it'll take 4,711 seconds before we come all the way around and come back there again. So you won't be able to see this, but I'm going to go ahead and tab in a calculator, a hand calculator. I have a calculator now overlaid my game, but my recorder only records the game functions, and I doubt you can see the calculator. But if I put in, I'll just talk while I do it, 4711, divide that by 60 seconds in a minute, that tells me in 78.5 minutes I will make an orbit. So that's our orbit. It takes us almost 80 minutes to make an orbit in our current orbital status. If we want to know when we get to apogee, that's the highest altitude we are in orbit, then we can clear this off. Put in code 98, and it'll tell us that we're at 121.5. So we're at 121 nautical miles for our apogee. And if we put in code 99, these are easy, 98, 99. I don't even have to think about those. I got those memorized. 99 will tell us our altitude for our lowest point in orbit, or PE, perigee. So 78.3 nautical miles. So this American spacecraft does everything in nautical miles, although we'll see things like in kilometers. If we come back over here and we do press the manual data, and I was confused about this, I got this straightened out, so if I confused anybody, it says 145 kilometers, but that's the same as 78 nautical miles. So we now know that our apogee is at 121 nautical miles, and we want to bring our perigee to circularize with that. We want to bring our perigee up to 121. So that's what we're going to do today. We need to go now and make a request to ground to let us know how to circularize to apogee. Last time we did it to perigee, we're going to do it to apogee this time. even if it means we have
Catch up burn pad, APCIRC, OAMS/OBC, GETI 00155, 02877, X equals 00780, Y equals 90,000, Z equals 00000, BT equals 039.01, ATT equals N/A, 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 Alt equals 0121.6, 0121.6, over.
Okay.
DCS uplink brief, time to burn, 001:55:28, dB, 78.03 feet/s.
All right, let's get all that on our notepad. And as you remember, last time I didn't bother putting it on this. Well, I kind of did, but all that information is already on our transcript right there. So you can use. Why do you need this notepad if you already have this transcript already in the pad right there? So this pad works just as well. But I wanted to look at the purpose of the burn is to circularize to apogee. You can write that on there by turning this into AP circular. And we're going to use propellant of the ohms system. And the Getty is the hours and minutes on the mission clock. Now, one of the things I didn't discuss before is if you click the mouse whip, well, you can have back in the bottom right here and tell you different stamps. So we can stamp the mission clock to be 0. So this is kind of tedious with the stamp tool. 155, but I wanted to show you how to do that. It's just so much easier to forget about this pad and just use this over here. But what was confusing to me is this is 155 hours minutes, and then this row here is the seconds. So it's important to the computer, but not to the human brain. So the mission clock would be 1 hour, 55 minutes, and how many seconds? Well, we look at this and it says 28 seconds and 0.77. So it goes into the hundreds. All right, so that's what these two are. Delta V, I think everybody understands what delta V is. That's your burn in feet per second, and that's going to be 78.0. So 78.0 is your delta V, and all that is going to go in the computer now. And then so let's get rid of that and just use this as our pad. Okay, so coming over here, we want to check our data. Now the uplink happened. That's what this red link is here telling us. It's occurred. We want to accept it, and now it's in the computer. And now that it's in the computer, we're going to come over here and hit start, and the light comes on, and now our computer has all of the uplink data from the ground, and we're good to go. But we're going to just come back over here to the MDIU, the Manual Data Insertion Unit to verify all these things. And the first thing we want to do is verify the mission clock, the GITI. And to do that, it's code 1. So 01 readout, and it shows 1:55. So if we go to our mission clock, we're currently at 52 minutes. So an hour from now, an hour and 3 minutes from now, we'll have our burn. So we got plenty of time. Don't worry, we'll fast forward through most of it. But that tells us when we're going to do our burn. So that would bring us to our perigee, and or close to it for our burn. To verify the rest of it, the second part, now I know reading these little numbers on your screen may be difficult, but the second part is the seconds, and it's 28.77 seconds. So let's verify that. We'll clear that, and we'll put in the code 02, read it out, and sure enough it says 28.77 seconds. So that's correct. Then we clear it. First thing we want to verify is the delta V, 25. Read that out. 78 is the delta V, 78.0. Clear that out. Delta Y and delta Z should be zeros. So code 26, 0. Clear that off. And code 27 is 0. Everything's good. You know, it's funny. One of the things that happened is one time I was checking this and there was a 2 there. So if I went 0, 0, 0, 0, 2 and hit enter, that data is now in the computer and it shouldn't be. And so I want to 0, whoops, I want to clear everything. 27, read it out, and now I want to insert. This is how you manually insert, and it's the only reason why I'm going through this. We put a code in, we don't like the number, we can go in and say 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0, and clear it all out. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, enter. And now I entered the zeros into the data computer, and we can make any change we want. In fact, in my Aurora Borealis video from a week ago, I entered in a different inclination in order that on liftoff we weren't going into a 28-degree inclination but a 65.5, and that brought us up so we can look at the northern lights. So we're all good. Everything is verified. Burn time. So burn time is what's the code for burn time? Oh, there isn't a code for burn time. So, and like I said, I don't know that it really matters much. I think on our notepad right here it says 39.10 seconds. The computer doesn't do that function. We do that manually, and that's why it's not in here, because it's not going to do anything with that. So, with that said, let's review on our mission clock when we can expect to do our burn. So that was 01, 1:55, and we come up here and we have 57 minutes on our mission clock. We got about a little less than an hour to go. So let's go fast time and knock off a good deal of this stuff. By the way, while we're doing fast time and we're knocking off the minutes, Well, I better be careful because. Alright, I went to normal time. I was going to talk about propellant. This tells you how much propellant we have in the ohm system if you click this over to ohms. And so as we burn to do any kind of maneuvering in orbit, it's going to use the ohms fuel tanks. And there's an oxidizer and a fuel. And the oxidizer is nitrogen tetroxide, and the fuel is monomethylhydrazine. And so this shows us how we're doing on the fuel right here. So as we do burns, you can come back and check this later. I may forget about that, but that lets you know if you're having too much fun and you don't have enough to do a re-entry. So you want to keep an eye on the propellant. Okay, so now we're going to come over to our time, and we need to see how much time we got left before our 155 drop date. Now there's a couple ways to do it. One way would be to come here, clear that off, and put in code 84. And it tells us how many seconds we got left. The problem with that is now you got to convert seconds to minutes. And 155 subtract 26 is only 30 minutes away. Let's do it that way. We got 25 minutes to set up our spaceship to prograde. And to do that, we'll turn that to prograde. We'll make sure the ohms are on. And turn that to platform to use the kind of the autopilot that will automatically keep our orientation and prograde. And you can see it's turning our craft now. Or you can look out the window and see us moving around. So, what's the purpose of this video? Simply to show you how you can do everything like an astronaut without using any cheats. I did cheat with a handheld calculator. So now we're going prograde. Everything's looking good. We got 23 minutes into our burn. Our burn's supposed to be about 30. What was it? The burn time is 39 seconds. I doubt it's going to be like 20 seconds, I bet you. I don't know why and what's going on with that. But we're going to go ahead and do a fast clock. Knock off our time to our burn. So now we got supposedly 1 minute and 40 seconds to burn, and this needs to go out first. I should have been watching that because yeah, we still got about 2 minutes. So alright, it just went out. So we're about 40 seconds too quick on my my clock here. So, but that's fine. I just want to use this as a warning to help me determine to keep my eye on this. And when this goes back on, I need to do my burn. So what's going to happen? This is going to count down at least 30 seconds to 40 seconds before the actual burn. But I'll be more attentive when it does get to the countdown. So next up is learning how to do a rendezvous. So that would be in a future video when we get to doing that. So we're going to do, according to this, a positive burn forward, of course, in order to increase our orbit, in order to push. We're at apogee right now. We want to push perigee up to 121 nautical miles. So another. I want to count. I want to turn this on when the light comes on, just to see how many seconds the burn time takes. For some reason, I forgot to get it to count. Oh, I goofed up my clock, so. And then we're going to go. And then we're going to go down. And we're done. And we just circularized our orbit. We got the IVs, all the delta V's, zeroed out. Which means the only thing left is verify. We can reset this now. But before we do, let's verify before we clear the computer out. And we're going to use the clear 99, 121. That's our apogee. Clear it. 98, 121. We're circularized. So we went 121.8 and 121.5. That is very good, folks. That's really good. And just for kicks, let's look at 32. Inclination is still at 28.9. That didn't get moved at all. And we're good to say reset. We'll clear that out of there. Yep, now we're in the orbit we want to be. And we didn't use any cheats. We just used the instrument over there, the MDIU. And they were good to go. So hopefully that helps, and we'll catch you next time.